Hey, you Stygian Dogs. It's October 23rd, and this marks the release of issue number 16 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. Titled Frozen Faith Part 4, The Hidden World. Jim Zub and Doug Braithwaite bring their 4-issue homage to the Frost Giant's daughter, the Robert E. Howard story celebrating its 90th anniversary this year, to an intimate and impactful close that sees Conan ready to confront his sorcery-filled future, his faith forged by the Frost Maiden and a father. As usual, we'll take our thorough look at the book, but first, while you go out and buy it, let's recap events in this first arc of the series' second year, and then take a look at this month's covers. The young Cimmerian, unknowingly on the cusp of supernatural entanglement and the specter of a sorcery-filled future, strikes out on his own, a spiritual sojourn of meaning-making. Absent the exaltation of Crom's call, Conan tests his mettle in the physical world, confronting beast and man, catching the attention of Atali, Ymir's daughter. She will lead Conan and company in a game of God against mortals, culminating in that great battle of Aesir against Vanir on the icy plains of Nordheim, where she will claim the black hair as her own. Though easily lured by her ethereal beauty, no mere mortal is this man. The Frost Giant's daughter, frustrated by her folly, fears her father, but with her brothers bested in battle, beseech him she must, and the barbarian is left bewildered, grasping the gossamer garment. And here's this month's covers. Cover A is from Colleen Doran. Cover B from Mr. Werewolf. And cover C is from Doug Braithwaite. And here's a look at Braithwaite's covers from the arc assembled in Quadtriptych. Now, on to the issue itself. And here we go. I'll flip through the book, present a few close-ups of panels. I'll try not to read too much verbatim, but I will outline the general plot and happenings. I want you to be curious and to grab your own copy. Seriously, buy these comics. They're so fantastic. I want to give you a sense of how things look and to convey my excitement and a few summary thoughts. But be warned, if you want a pure reading experience, and I know you do, I would caution you about spoilers. If inclined, feel free to skip ahead to the conclusion. My final summary there will be free of specific spoilers. On the inside cover, an advertisement reminding you to collect the complete Blackstone saga. This includes the miniseries, off to a great start, and issue number 3 comes out in a few weeks. Savage Sword of Conan number 4, and Conan, Cult of the Obsidian Moon by James Lovegrove. This comes out in November. Opposite that, credits for the teams at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. And turning the page, the Numidian Chronicles, a map for wayfinding, and a summary of events thus far. The Cimmerian's mind is unsettled as he contemplates the garment in his hand, that gossamer veil not made by human distaff, and the Spartan query that it poses. What does he believe? Frozen Faith, Part 4, The Hidden World, grim Jim Zub, writer, diabolical Doug Braithwaite, artist, dangerous Diego Rodriguez, color artist, rascally Richard Starkings, and Comic Craft's Titanic Tyler Smith, letters, calamitous Chris Butera, editor. A young Conan at his father's forge, listening to his father's words that he should be grateful that Crom gave him courage to face all things head on with no fear. The earth shudders. It is Crom shuffling his step. Conan had heard that it is devils moving underfoot. If it is so, says his father, it's Crom's devils indeed. As Conan stews in his unsound thoughts, old Gorm interrupts. A moment's gaze upon Atali had gripped his mind ever since, but to touch a goddess true. Did he touch a goddess? He recollects what he knows to be true, that which he can see, smell, taste, or touch. The certainty of his senses, the reality he thought he knew. Her body like ivory and eyes like dancing light. Yes, he saw Atali. So too did he smell the oak and lavender of her musk, and her taste a spicy and sweet wind in his mouth, and to touch her was to burn at the impossibly cold. As the laughs and screams of the Frost Giant's daughter echo in his mind, Conan is blindsided by one of the Aesir men he'd met after he felled the bear. The blow casts Conan to a past proclamation that he'll not be Crom's coward, for he believes not in Crom. The elders speak of gods, but Conan's never seen them. Crom cares not, and his invocation carries little concern. not so the concerns of a father. Who has influenced the boy that he would disgrace his ancestors? Conan remains steadfast. Such is the strength of his people. These are his own beliefs. A return to the present. Conan called a coward and a liar. It's time to back that accusation up or to back down. The enraged Aesir charges as Atali's words cling close. Strange circumstances for sense-making. A world of flesh and blood, pleasure and pain, tested and victorious. With faith in his own body and mind against man or environment, Conan is always victorious. Physical threats in the physical world, weapons to rely on and enemies to vanquish. Yet this is a world he no longer knows, having now glimpsed Ymir's realm. So many sacrifices and still seen by the Aesir as a savage, and now with the icy eyes of Ymir's curse, there's no returning to camp. Hand raised, but his father relents to a struggle shared, a wife and mother taken. Crom's will is cruel fate, or for no reason at all. But belief as hope, as strength. Crom's stone soul grounds in storm or in strife. When Conan is a man, he will get to seek his own answers and to live his own life. With a mind open and a mouth shut. The boy became a man, sending dozens screaming to their fates at Venarium, and then nothing. No purpose revealed, no exaltation from within, no certainty in his God's great power. But with Atali's desperate plea for intervention and a thunderous answer from beyond, the hidden world, one of spirits and sorcery, has been unveiled. And a world of gods is a world with his God, proof enough for the most stubborn child of Crom on his mountain. So ends issue number 16 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. A moving conclusion to the first arc of the series' second year under the creative vision of Jim Zub. A wonderful meditation on belief. The story is a return to the pensive and grounded tone in issue number 13. As it ends, we feel Conan's growth. We're as certain of his belief as he is, and are able to see the power granted to one whose God cares not. We understand Conan's motivation to drink deep and live life to its fullest, without fear. Join me in the conclusion for some additional thoughts. On the opposite page, we see an advertisement for a new era of bravery and heroism. Look at this plethora of Conan content, novels, and movie tie-ins. The Heroic Legends shorts. Also listed are the comics collections, including a look at the forthcoming Savage Sword collections and the various omnibus collections. I'll post links to these in the video description. Turning the page, we come to part 16 in the series of essays by Jeffrey Shanks. This one is titled The Grim Grey Gods of the Howardverse. The essay is prefaced with text from Robert E. Howard's story, The Cairn of the Headland. Aye, laugh if you will, but who knows what shapes of horror have had birth in the darkness, the cold gloom and the whistling black gulfs of the north? Who can say what elemental spirits of evil dwell in the fierce storms and the darkness? Well may it be that from such fiends of the night men evolved the worship of the grim ones, Odin and Thor and their terrible kin. Jeff begins his essay addressing a question that has perplexed fans of the Conan stories. Do the gods that are worshipped in the Hyborian Age really exist? Does Crom really dwell in his mountain? What of Mitra or Set? While there are certainly supernatural entities in the stories, powerful elder beings and the like, what about the deities? Howard leaves the question unanswered or ambiguous. Even Atali may have been a hallucination or a dream, and Ymir, when summoned, doesn't appear himself. Shanks points out that the device whereby a god or deity appears in a dream is one that Howard uses more than once, including in The Phoenix on the Sword and Iron Shadows in the Moon. Jeff notes that by the time of Conan's adventures with Belit, the Cimmerian has little doubt of the existence of the gods, and when asked by Belit, his answer is both deferential and practical, saying, "I would not step on their shadow," and that he has known many gods, and that he who denies them is as blind as he who trusts them too deeply. Beyond the Conan stories, Howard's story Spear of Clentarf was rewritten as the Grey God passes, where he includes the Norse god Odin himself, who intervenes in battle. Shanks goes on, connecting the dots between Odin and the elemental spirit of the North in the Hyborian Age. Howard revisits this Odin theme in his horror story, The Cairn of the Headland, where the modern protagonist remembers his past life as a participant in battle that includes the appearance of Odin, who in taking a human form was struck down and unintentionally revived and freed in the modern age. Shanks closes by noting that in these stories we learn that anthropomorphic deities do exist in the Howardverse, and that the gods are real, but that they are more like primal elemental forces of nature, dark and terrifying, that can sometimes assume human form, and when they do, it is best not to tread on their shadow. As always, Jeff Shanks' essays are a must-read. On the opposite page, we get a text snippet of sinister Shawn Curley's interview with Jim Zub and Doug Braithwaite. Make sure to check out the official Conan YouTube channel where you'll find this interview in full. After that, we come to the covers gallery. And then, on the back cover, an ad for the Funcom video game properties. Jim Zub had introduced this arc as an exploration of the myth and magic, and I'd add meaning of Robert E. Howard's The Frost Giant's Daughter. I suspect that many have taken the opportunity over these past few months, as I have, to revisit the tale in its previous iterations. From Roy Thomas and Barry Windsor-Smith's work in Savage Tales No. 1 and Conan the Barbarian No. 16, to Kurt Busiek and Cary Nord's celebrated adaptation in the Dark Horse run. Not to mention the freely adapted and erotically charged version from Robin Recht as it appeared in the Cimmerian. And of course, the source itself, Robert E. Howard's original short story. I enjoy considering the various comic presentations as a single whole. They're like ripples in a pond reflecting aspects of Howard's tale, versions of the story's truth mirrored and dancing like Atali herself, existing as teasing echoes, memories, and mysteries, and the myriad coalescing toward meaning. And what are Zub's contributions to this whole? I love that his work in issue 14 celebrates and concretizes the lore offered by other creators. Here I'm really thinking of the story elements added by Kurt Busiek that Zub had mirrored in the preface to the battle on Nordham's icy plain. And in issues number 14 and 15, the narrative shift to Atali gave creative cause to consider the story from a grander perspective, to contemplate the story's classic themes without reconstructing the story we know and love. And these are just some of the successes of Zub's story. Another is that the arc is not just a retelling of The Frost Giant's Daughter. Here in issue number 16, we get the intimate bookend to the story that began in issue number 13. It's a return to the more pensive and grounded story of the young Cimmerian who, absent the exaltation of Crom's call, departs his homeland to forge his own path. And after recent experiences, things feel all the more haunting. The hidden world of gods, of memories and emotion, and a father's interior life hidden from his son, mapping a destiny in the physical world. In the end, Conan's belief is fortified, and we're shown the importance of making one's own way in life, and what it means to believe in a God that cares not and does not intervene in the affairs of man. The bookends of this arc are a wonderful meditation on the nature of belief, with a final message to drink deep and live life to its fullest without fear. It's fantastic. Jim Zub's issue number 16 of Conan the Barbarian is a satisfying conclusion to an arc that has explored interesting and relatable themes alongside the myth and magic of the Frost Giant's Daughter. It's also some of the best work we've seen from Doug Braithwaite and Diego Rodriguez. The Frozen Faith arc is refreshingly distinct from what has been offered to us thus far and gets me excited for what is yet to come. Thanks for watching, liking, heck, consider subscribing. Let me know your thoughts of the issue and the arc as a whole, and were you inspired to revisit some of the other versions of the classic tale? Next week, we see the release of Savage Sword of Conan number 5 and the return of King Conan. The week after that, we'll get issue number 3 of Conan Battle of the Black Stone, and in a month's time, issue number 17 with art from Danica Breen. I think it's going to rock. And until next time, take it easy, you Stygian Dogs.